Hello, my name is Gracie Hopkins, and here is my student ID. So my historical figure was Marcus Aurelius. His full name was Caesar Marcus Aurelius Antoninus Augustus, until it was changed in 161 CE to Marcus Annius Verus. He was born in Rome on April 26, 121 CE, and died on March 17, 180 in Vindobona. He was best known for his meditations on the Stoic philosophy, and for many generations of people in the West, he has symbolized the golden age of the Roman Empire. When he was born, his paternal grandfather was consul for now the second time, as well as being the prefect of Rome. He was related to many of the most prominent families that were now part of the Roman establishment, and he came to the throne after his adopted father died in 161. And what he did, so he learned the ways of the government as well as public affairs as he worked side by side with his adopted father. He became consul and kept this position 2 more times throughout his life, and he eventually turned into a strong source of counsel and support for Antoninus after obtaining several more responsibilities as well as official powers. He was very interested in his philosophical studies and even began to form an interest in law. In 145, he married the emperor's daughter, Faustina, and they went on to have several children, but unfortunately a few of them died early in their lives. He rose to power in 161. His brother Verus served as his co-ruler. Marcus battled against the Parthian Empire to gain control of the lands in the east in the 160s. When the Parthian War came to an end, military conflict broke out in the late 160s against the German tribes. And after the German tribes went across the Danube River to attack a Roman city, Marcus and Verus went off to fight the invaders back. Marcus pushed on alone, trying to drive the Germans away after Verus died in 169. Avidius Cassius claimed the title of emperor in 175 after finding out via a rumor that Marcus was deathly ill. He was forced to travel back to the east in order to regain some control, but Cassius was murdered by his own soldiers, which was a good thing because that meant that Marcus did not have to fight him. Instead of fighting him, he began to tour the eastern provinces alongside his wife as he reestablished authority. His wife Faustina died while they were on this trip, unfortunately. Later on in 177, Marcus made Commodus, his son, a co-ruler as they were battling the German tribes once again. He wanted to extend his empire's borders in doing this conflict, but unfortunately he did not live to see his vision through to completion. His son came to the throne and ended military efforts in the north after Marcus died on March 17, 180. Even though Marcus waged many wars in his time, he is best remembered for his rule that was driven by reason and his contemplative nature. The Meditations were a collection of his thoughts that are based on his Stoic beliefs that have been published. And this work is not fully, or it's not only filled with his Stoic beliefs, but also the notes that were on his life. And the next question as to why he was so important in the era that he lived in was that he was a part of the 5 good emperors of Rome, being the last one in the group. His time as a ruler had marked the end of an internal tranquility. I'm having a stroke. His time as ruler marked the end of an internal tranquility period as well as a good government. And once he died, the empire had begun to quickly descend into civil war. And again, in his life, he symbolized the golden age of the Roman Empire for many generations for people that were in the West. One thing that surprised me about him, or I guess like the biggest one, was how he ruled. He was driven by reason and his contemplative nature, and I can't really explain why that sticks out so much to me, but it does. It's really fascinating because while he was in many wars, he ruled in such a unique way that even had the meditations that were published. They were divided into 12 books, which I found really interesting. They're very interesting. Meditations show the beliefs that the cosmos is a unity that is governed by some sort of intelligence. They also show that the soul of a human is part of that divine intelligence. And I'm gonna quote the last bit because paraphrasing to me doesn't really do it justice. So the last part is, and that the soul can therefore stand if naked and alone, at least pure and undefiled amid chaos and futility. And I also linked the website that talks about the meditation because it goes into a lot of depth about Marcus and his thoughts. And it's really hard to paraphrase without losing the meaning, but it's definitely worth the read. And then I used 4 sources, and I found a website that has all 12 of the books that because meditations were separated into 12 books, and it like has them all translated. So I'm gonna read them after I finish everything because it seems really interesting. So I linked it there in case you wanted to read it. Thank you.